Fire Dispatch, Cypress County 5-4. I'm on scene with female patient. She's altered LOC. At this point she is red and we're requesting halo, please.
We were moving cows back. It was in October, moving cows back from the North Place, and when we got through the gate, I was kind of behind everybody, and when they turned around, I was on the ground. No idea what happened, if I got thrown off, bucked off, no idea. But I hit my head in the front and in the back, and I had 2 brain bleeds, and I also blew out my knee. They did dispatch a regular ambulance. The issue being that I was in the middle of a field. So in that sense, when the ambulance were to have gotten me, I would have been bopping all the way back across the prairie and down gravel roads to get back to a normal highway. So having a brain injury, that kind of made it a little bit of a trigger for them. Halo showed up and took me to Medicine Hat. I had a bunch of CTs, bunch of tests, and ended up in Calgary for a couple weeks. And I lost my memory for almost a year. And maybe if Halo didn't come and pick me up, I might have lost my memory for good. Having the opportunity in my life to, to be able to remember things is amazing, let alone to be alive. I was so thankful. Like, what do you say? How do you repay somebody, without, I don't have money to give, but I can give you all the time that I have. So I started volunteering with Halo, just doing events and stuff like that, and then they asked me to be on the board of directors, and I've been with them for 2 years now. I remember when I got home from being in Calgary, I got a bill in the mail for $500 for my ambulance ride from the helicopter to the hospital. But I never got a bill from Halo, I wouldn't have even known. If people wouldn't have told me, I wouldn't have even known. So it's very important for us. We're not making profit off anything. We're here to help people, and Halo is there to help people with no cost to them, and it can save your life. And that's priceless.
So the original concept was to fundraise and support the local fixed wing air ambulance program. So that was back in 1998. And after a couple of years of working with that, supporting the fixed wing, we bought some equipment, we moved it into the aircraft, we fixed things up, we kind of just contributed wherever we could. The idea came out that it's not really fair for this part of the country to be uncovered by helicopter or rescue air ambulance. The STARS operation in Calgary has always been available to us, but it's not very accessible to us because of the distance. So it made a lot more sense for us to have something based locally that we could use and respond to accidents so much faster than calling somebody out of Calgary.
If you think of the layout of the land of Southern Alberta, Southwest Saskatchewan, the roads aren't totally set up so that you can get an ambulance, or anybody even for that matter, to some of these locations. If it was an oil field, a remote oil field location, or a rancher on horseback, a lot of times it's an area that is just not accessible quickly. And if you think of the area that Halo gets to in 20 minutes, it could take an hour and a half or 2 hours with a vehicle to finally get to that spot. And so then being able to get the right people and the right equipment to the scene to at least get the situation under control and quickly get them back. I mean, you're going across country, it really reduces that time, right?
In 2007, we kind of just jumped off the diving board into the deep end and pulled the whole thing together, originally as a pilot project, in order to determine how much usage there was and what was the demand and the need, and it never stopped after that. The first call that we took was actually just a couple of days after launch. So launch was, I believe, July 4th, 2007, and within just a couple of days we did have a call south of the US border for, it was a work accident. It was a fellow on an ATV doing survey work, and he had rolled it down into a coulee and was pinned underneath it. So accessibility by ground ambulance was really, really terrible. And he had such severe injuries that to bring him back on a stretcher in the back of an ambulance would have been really, really detrimental to his care. His overall health would have suffered from that. So it was kind of a bit of a miracle timing-wise, that the helicopter was there and available, was able to come in and pick him up and take him out.
On September 22nd, 2014, we were doing our potato harvest out at Oakland Colony, and it was raining the night before, so it was quite wet. And Edwin had pulled trucks out the night before to get everything loaded and going. And the next day, Edwin had gone out and they had loaded the first truck, and as they were coming back in, the truck got stuck. I just happened to pull in the yard, and Edwin was up, and I drove my vehicle up beside him, and I made a funny face at him, and he just glared at me because he was mad that he was stuck. And I just backed my truck up, and he hopped in, and basically I watched it all happen. So Edwin hopped in the tractor and got a tow rope and went to pull the tractor out. And when he went to pull the tractor out, the front bumper bent up and the pin shot out like a bullet and went through the back window and struck him in the side of the neck.
Weighs about 6 pounds. Came through the back window of the tractor and it struck me right here in my neck. It shot at my jaw, here and here. I shattered vertebrae C1. I broke 2, 3, and 4. So I broke my neck on 4 spots and my jaw was messed up.
He got a sheared brain injury from the impact.
Yeah.
It just happened to be a really busy day for the ambulance service, so they actually had to dispatch out of Foremost, and then they also got the call in Tabor. So by the time they got there, it was a 45-minute wait, and then they both arrived at the same time. And then the ambulance comes and they get him packaged, and all of a sudden the RCMP are clearing the area and Halo's landing. And it was just a surreal moment. Like, but it was calming in the next sense, right? With all those people.
And Halo is serving a rural area that's basically a blind spot for stars. So, and there's a lot of activity and a lot of people and a lot of companies working in that area. They helped each other out. But stars could not do what Halo did for me, not in our area. The surgeon that did my neck surgery, he said if it wasn't for Halo, I would not have made it. I wouldn't be here.
And we've pretty steadily maintained 24 to 28 calls per year. And we're really actively working with the STARS Emergency Link Center who handles our dispatch. We're working with them to try and change dispatch protocols. The STARS system is incredible, and they've honed it over the years to be absolutely perfect for the region that they serve. This is a different region, geographically and population base wise. So we really had to readjust and make a new set of rules that Halo could operate under to make it most effective and most efficient in this area. And part of that is just making sure that the helicopter gets on scene as quickly as possible, even if not for transport, but to provide that emergency advanced life support or ALS care that the paramedic that operates on the helicopter is able to provide. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but if you don't send the help and it's needed, there's no way to go back. That's the way we look at it.
Halo and the helicopter itself are truly not-for-profit. And that's a big difference, right? The whole Halo program is funded by donations, whether it be from the oil and gas, or whether it be from agriculture, or whether it be from just the general community. 4-H clubs. In the last year or two, we've had about $30,000 or $40,000 donated by 4-H clubs, and you know, isn't that interesting to see young people donating money for a rescue helicopter? I didn't think about that sort of stuff when I was in 4-H. And it's nice to know if you're going to donate money to Halo, that money is being well utilized. It isn't going into somebody's pocket. It goes to doing what you want it to do. And that's really important. We can fly down to the bottom of the coulee. We don't have to have the first responders bring the patient to the top of the coulee bank. We can go right to the very bottom. We can land in a farmer's field. It wasn't an issue for us because it's very light and it doesn't create all the dust and blowing the material up. So we really have got the right helicopter for this region. That was important. You know, we spent a long time deciding what type of helicopter was the right helicopter, and the helicopter we have fits perfectly. The color isn't flashy. That was the color when we bought it, and we left the color the way it was. You know, we could have spent $20,000 and had the color changed, but it doesn't work any better, right? So this is truly a low cost, but a very effective program.
Anyone that knows about us has a very positive response, but it's a limited circle. And that's a problem that our board has and that we've faced, in that we're all volunteers and we all commit our own time, our own resources to make the program successful. We have one young fellow that we still see once in a while, and he's about 16 years old in a car accident.
The 911 call came in that this was a very serious accident, an extremely serious accident. So not only was a paramedic dispatched with a helicopter, a doctor was sent as well.
The first responders on scene had actually declared him passed away, and they had called off the halo response. And our crew went in there and took a look and said, no, that's not the case. We can still do something here. And I was actually working outside when the helicopter came in, and we unloaded him, and there were pieces of his femur left in the bottom of the helicopter after they got him out. And that was after a really long extrication that required 2 tow trucks to pull his car off of him. And he came in a few months later, and he was walking. He was walking. It was amazing. He had crutches at the time, but that was just a few months post-accident, and he's a 16-year-old kid that did something dumb. Doesn't mean he should pay forever. Without the higher level of care, without the ALS paramedic, and the speed of transport that we had, he wouldn't still be here. Yeah, he's an amazing kid, so that's what, and that was quite a few years ago. That was I'd probably give that about 4 or 5 years ago now. So to see him as a young man finishing university and doing all these things that are so important to him, yeah, it's pretty significant.
The main purpose is a rapid response to get the paramedic to the scene, no matter what the scene was. You know, whether it's in a house, a heart attack, or a motor vehicle, or whatever. Anything that's involving saving somebody's life or finding him, yeah.
The organization is doing something incredible with the resources that we have and the people that we have. It's truly a testament to what the people feel about the program and how much they support it, to see what they put out there every day.
We spend our the time of the board, our entire workload is raising money. And I think there's things that we can do better if we could only get some funding. We're making a difference, and we're making a difference with people's lives, and that's really important.